This is Bill Sang, the author of the Giganotus Rex series. You can find links to purchase the Giganotus Rex books at williamhsang.com, and Sang is Seng, or you can go to amazon.com. You can find books there. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Enjoy the show. The Wrath of Giganotus Rex by Bill Sang. Chapter 7, Exterminators. On my way to the village of Orwell, I felt that it was necessary to touch base with George. As my transportation was skimming along the open plain, I called him up. His phone rang a few times before I received an answer. "George speaking." I greeted him. "Hello, George, this is Bill." "So how's the research going?" said George. "It's going well," I started. "I took your advice and read some books about reptiles." "About time you wised up." He had the sound of pride in his voice. "What did you learn?" I couldn't contain myself. "I've learned that the monster is not a monitor, Komodo, tuatara, alligator, crocodile, snake, or turtle. I think you get the picture. George, I truly think this sucker is a dinosaur. The reptile books I got from the library are not helping you figure out what this thing is." "You're making absolutely no sense right now." His confusion showed in his voice. "If you think it's a dinosaur, why did you check out books about lizards?" "Reptiles, actually," I corrected him. "But yes, I decided that a book on reptiles could help me to learn about this creature's behavior patterns." George chimed in again. "How is that going to help you? Dinosaurs and lizards are two totally different animals. Shouldn't you be looking at books on birds if you think this thing is a dinosaur? Everything I've heard says that they are more closely related to birds." I got a little frustrated trying to explain. "Is a dinosaur a reptile or not?" "Of course it's a reptile," he replied. I continued. "Okay, so why are you giving me such a hard time about this? All the theories today say they are like birds, and yet nobody says that dinosaurs are birds. If a dinosaur is a reptile, it's not a bird. Our best shot at understanding this thing is to study patterns of reptiles." Knowing that I was not an expert, I knew I probably sounded ignorant to him. George responded in his typical George fashion. "But dinosaurs lived way back then. People are far more qualified and knowledgeable than you on this subject." I became more and more frustrated. "Well, first, someone purged all the books on dinosaurs from the library right before my eyes. I was fortunate that they did not consider the children's books to be a valuable asset. Nonetheless, the same information is inside of them. Second, how can there be an expert on dinosaurs if nobody has ever... Never mind. I am heading out to Orwell again. That's what I really called about. I'm taking your advice. I figured I might be able to learn something." "Good. About time. Get a good scoop while you're out there. It's not every day that someone gets to visit a village. I'm glad you made it back alive. Best of luck to you." I couldn't tell if he was wishing me luck or wishing me dead. "Thanks, George." There was hesitation in my voice. "I'll fill you in when I get back." After work, I gathered everything I needed for my trip to Orwell. I remained frustrated as I thought about the conversation I had with George. Something did not seem right. Nonetheless, I had a job to do and I wanted to make haste. I scheduled my transportation, gathered my luggage, and was off to the village. I arrived at Orwell, but this time it was in the middle of the day. Although they were all hard at work with livestock and crops, they took notice of me quickly. A mob of people walked over. They looked both troubled and curious. An older gentleman stepped in front of the crowd. It was the same man who led the rest of the villagers in giving thanks just the other day. The man began to speak. "My name is Stephen Saint. We welcome you to our village, but we would like to know what brings you here." Without hesitation, I responded, "My name is William Martin Stevens. You can call me Bill. I'm a reporter. I was a witness to the earth-shattering event you all beheld just a few short days ago. No one could have known that a dinosaur would appear at this stage in human history, in the village of Orwell. Although global media has sent me to gather more information, I also have a personal interest in understanding what a dinosaur is doing alive today." Steve spoke again. "We know you were here the other day when the military struck down our people." I didn't expect them to describe the event as such. A military strike? What? Steve spoke again. We know you were here the other day when the military struck down our people. I didn't expect them to describe the event as such. A military strike? What? He continued to speak. Tell us, are they coming back? What are you talking about? I inquired. The military struck because a monster was attacking your village. They may have saved you all. Is that the story now? He sarcastically chuckled. If we were being attacked, how did they know to respond? Did you not find it suspicious how the artillery vehicles were ahead of the beast? They had to have left their outpost before we knew the monster was coming. Steve was strangely starting to make sense. I had to clue them in on my cluelessness. Listen, I have as many questions as you do. Are there any eyewitnesses among you? A woman spoke up. Yes, I saw what happened. She was young and had dark hair. The artillery traveled from a long ways away and had lined up to open fire. They were all poised for attack when the beast swatted one of the helicopters out of the sky. I was surprised at the details she provided. What is your name, madam? I asked. Elizabeth Saint. I am Stephen's daughter. Miss Saint, I continued, are you certain of what you saw? Absolutely. There was no hint of uncertainty or dishonesty in her voice. But it's no secret about what's been going on the past couple of years. Now right there, you're wrong, I corrected her. I have no idea what you're talking about. The beast is not new here. I mean, he is, but he didn't just appear the other day. He's been around for a couple of years. She walked toward me, but looked away as she spoke. We don't see him all the time, but he never really leaves. I became curious. Really? What does he eat? Steve answered. We feed him a variety of foods. Every so often we will sacrifice him a portion of our livestock, and at other times it is from our crops that we feed him. This was becoming a very productive visit. You feed him like a dog? More like a cat, he joked. We don't tell him when to come or when to go. He does that as he pleases. We only need to feed him every so often. Either he has another food source or he doesn't need to eat very often. A feeling of dread suddenly dawned on me, but had nothing to do with the beast. Have you people been planning a rebellion? I feared their response. Steve answered, No. I was afraid he might say that. Why was the military here? Steve walked away a few feet and looked down at the ground. He waited a few seconds and responded, As far as any of us could tell, it was our time. I paused to reflect, but my thought was interrupted. I heard shouts of terror coming from behind me. The ground vibrated as something enormous was heading in our direction. Footsteps. They were drawing closer, and whatever it was big. Steve turned to me again. We must run! I didn't ask questions. I ran as fast as I could, but the footsteps got closer. I looked back to see a giant robot in the shape of a human in the distance making its way to the road. It was about 20 feet tall and was destroying everything in its path. It trampled people as it gave chase to us. There were two others following behind in formation. The lead seemed to be fixated on me. It felt like a nightmare. I ran harder and harder, only to see them effortlessly gaining on me. The lead was closing in, 100 feet, 50, 25. It leapt in the air and landed not even 20 feet away from Steve, Miss Saint, and myself. I watched as it raised its fist to pulverize my friends. A darkness fell upon us as a massive shadow blanketed us and the machine. This new shadow dwarfed the machine and quickly batted him away with his snout. Giganotus Rex had joined the fight.